Let's check in on this, though, and we'll react to some of it. Let's start, Scotty, with the portion of the interview yesterday with Joe Klanderman, the Baylor's new defensive coordinator, where this was what really grabbed Scotty's attention. And then we put it out there in a short and kind of put it out there to, across to all our friends out there on Twitter and everywhere else on YouTube. But this is where Joe Klanderman talked about, hey, he's going to make wholesale changes and blow it up.
We've basically told you, do your thing. Like, we like what you've done. Come here. This is your unit. Run this unit, because obviously he's been a defensive coordinator and he has his approaches to things. How would you guys sort of meld that? And was that his message? Hey, I want you to come here and run your defense.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if I would have taken this opportunity if it wasn't. Because there's certain things that I believe in, and I certainly welcome his input because he is a very football smart guy. But I think that in his mind, he needs to step back and manage this team, and he was ready to do that. And I think he needed a fresh start for the guys on defense, and that's what I'm here to do. And so my approach to this thing is I'm just going to come in and blow it up from the beginning. And we're going to try to get guys new terminology, new everything. And I don't want. I want a new set of expectations, and that's not throwing shade at anything that was done here before. I just think that if we're going to do this thing, we need to do it right, and that's what I intend to do.
Whoa! I mean, he went ahead and said it. Didn't mean to throw shade or anything, but new set of expectations. I love it. I mean, this Joe did not show up hat in hand. Hey, where do I eat around here? Where should we live? It's like, no, we're going to blow this thing up. We're going to have all new terminology. I know everybody wanted to change, and I, like everybody else, I thought Baylor needed to make a change, but they didn't. They're going to retain Dave Aranda. So let's see how this goes. But this is, it reminds me of a book, and it was like Doris Kearns Goodwin wrote a book about, it was called Team of Rivals, and it was how Abraham Lincoln put together his cabinet, and it was people that didn't agree with him and disagreed with him and were open about that, and conflict and all that. It's been suggested, at least by one defensive coordinator that got fired at Baylor, that Dave Aranda maybe didn't like confrontation or conflict. I mean, I would hope maybe he's learned to embrace it a little bit more, but I wouldn't call this team of rivals. I would call this team of mercenaries. I think what Baylor's doing next year is they're going to bring in a ton of people in the portal, and not that these coaches won't get along and try to help each other, but Joe Klanderman's not coming in here to be somebody's buddy and like, well, they told me you were a great guy and they thought you and Dave and the family, we would all have a great time with y'all. I hope that all happens. I hope they do have a good time. But that dude's coming in here to cause to get a bunch of takeaways, cause turnovers, help Bears not be ranked 115th in turnover margin, and he's coming in here to do it. So this has maybe a team of rivals, team of mercenaries, however you want to view it. But this is, hey, we don't have time to establish this culture. Oh, we're going to build a culture. No, this is year 7. That was about 5 years ago that needed to happen. All right, let's save everybody's rears. I had Joey tell me that one time. Joey McGuire used to tell me that when Jeff Grimes came in and he put that offense in, and they were the wide zone or whatever they called it, the wide 9, and he put that thing in, Joey said he saved everybody's rear around here. He saved, Jeff Grimes came in and, did an incredible job. And then, of course, by the time it was over, like with a lot of coaches, everybody's ready to run him out of town. Get on out of here. Get on out of here, Jeff. And he landed on his feet at Kansas. And then he landed on his feet at Wisconsin. I mean, I got to see what Jeff's doing now. But Jeff always seems to kind of land on his feet. Joe, may have had a chance to stay. I think Colin Klein probably said to him, hey, I got to have some conversations. I might have a spot for you. And I think Joe probably heard in his ear, when he heard that, was like, I better go find me a spot, because that doesn't sound like a sure thing for me. That's not what Joe said to us. I'm just kind of reading between the lines of how that conversation probably went. But Joe put a good enough body of work where people are going to reach out. And I also like, and let's hear this, I like this, what he said to us, Scotty, about Chris Kleiman. And again, Joe seems to be a real upfront guy, because he could have played this as like, yeah, I kind of knew, and Kleiman, but he fully admits that Coach Kleiman, that Chris Kleiman, the K-State coach, left everybody in a lurch. Doesn't mean they don't love him. Doesn't mean, I mean, Joe Klanderman owes a lot of the success and a lot of the money he's made, a lot of the opportunities he's had to Chris Kleiman and the Kleiman family. All right. A lot of people do. But Chris Kleiman woke up one day and left a lot of families and a lot of coaches in a lurch. Let's not try to tap dance around that deal. And so I kind of asked about that. What was that like to get that news that day?
What was that like the other day, a couple of weeks ago? I bet it's been a whirlwind since Coach Kleiman, who you're obviously extremely close to. Did he tip you off a little bit? Did you kind of sense that something was coming? Because for the rest of America, everybody was very, very surprised. And I'm sure there were some people on the staff that were surprised as well. How did you process all that?
Shocked. And I'll tell you kind of how it went down. I don't know if this is a story that I should be sharing or not, but so no idea. Coach Kleiman is a really, really big people person. And, he's, I don't want to use the word pleaser, but it matters to him what people think, and it matters to him that people have his back and stuff. And, it was a trying year for us there. We're not used to, losing 6 games. And so he was, he internalizes a lot of that, and as any leader should, and just takes it himself and wears it. And I kind of have some of those tendencies too. So I know exactly what he was feeling like, but you could tell it was wearing on him a little bit, just how he carried himself day to day. And, but anyway, we were talking about the future on Monday. We were talking about recruiting. We were talking about next season. We were talking about spring, and so I had no idea. And then Wednesday, the way they did it at K-State was they had a little signing day Zoom with all the signees, and, parents are on there, and Coach Kleiman gave a speech about, looking forward to takes a village, and, all things that you would say. And then that group got done. And then there was another 8:00 group, because we had some Mountain Time signees, Denver and whatever. And then we went to our offices, and there was about 3 or 4 guys hanging out in my office. And somebody came in and showed me I guess it was a newspaper heading. I don't know how you term it, but it just said Kleiman to resign, Klein to take his place. And today I thought it was AI. I thought it was garbage. And for starters, I know how university systems work, and there's so much red tape. There's no way in hell that you could get somebody hired, instantly. So, I dismissed it, and I had my phone sitting on my desk, and I won't say the names, but all of a sudden my phone started bzz, bzz, and it was a member of the national media. And I didn't really think much about it. I ignored the call because I had some other guys in my office. And then bzz, bzz, it was another member of the national media that I know. And again, I ignored the call. And then bzz, bzz, a third member of the national media. And I'm starting to think, might be a little fire where this smoke is.
Wow. It does seem like Joe has some friends in the national media, doesn't it? Which is great. Boy, that what a situation that must have been for those coaches. And imagine, I mean, I don't know. I mean, honestly, you shouldn't shock the people in your lives that are like doing that stuff. I mean, like, you kind of need to tip people off. That's they're showing some grace. People on that staff and the families that were impacted. I mean, I'm sure in some ways maybe they're thankful and grateful for Chris Kleiman and some of the things he's done for them. I get that, but you really owe people more of a courtesy than to have them move with you and do all that with you and sacrifice that from North Dakota State to K-State and all of that, and not have them like read about it on their phones and then hear about it from the media. I mean, I don't know. It takes me back to that guy from Virginia, the coach, Tony Bennett. Just like, okay, guys, we put a good class together. Appreciate everybody, but I'm out. I don't really like this NIL anymore, so I'm just going to leave. And I hope, man, wish you guys the best, but this is not really what I signed up for. Every coach wears it. Every coach internalizes losses. I mean, and I know Kleiman got emotional after that loss and some of the fans, I don't know. I kind of took it as like, man, this guy cares and this is a good coach. I've always thought a lot of him, but I think some of the fans kind of were like, hey, dude, keep it together. You're the leader. You can't be up there just like break it up during the conference. But that may have been the moment where he started to think, I don't have really what it takes right now, or I don't have the stomach for this to go on. But man, that's to me, that's kind of uncool to leave people in that much of a lurch. But again, those people have been with him and have more history with him. So it's easy for me to say that on the outside, and maybe they kind of process this in a different way. But I don't know. It's kind of weird for everybody to kind of, be preparing and working to get a recruiting class together and have all their families going to school up there in Manhattan and kids and everything. And Kleiman just doesn't even give them a heads up. They just have to read it in the media. I don't know. I would bear a certain amount of resentment toward Kleiman. But you know what? We ought to get Kleiman on. That'd be an interesting interview. And just kind of walk through that and go, hey, Chris, why didn't you tell the people? I mean, we could speculate as to why he did it that way, or we could just get him on and ask him about it. I'll do a Chris Kleiman interview soon, because he'll probably have opportunities to be in the media or whatever he wants to do. Let's see. Oh, I like this one. We're talking to Joe Klanderman, was on with us yesterday. The Baylor's new defensive coordinator who came over from K-State. And if you're just joining us, there have been 2 K-State defensive players that have hit the portal this very afternoon. And we every one of those K-State players who goes in the portal, I think people will be wondering if Baylor might be a fit for them. And I asked Coach yesterday if he might come bearing gifts. And he kind of laughed about that. And he kind of indicated, yeah, he hopes, that might be an opportunity. So we'll see. One of those is an edge rusher, and one is a 6'3", 195-pound cornerback. Remember, just a reminder, Coach Klanderman is a safeties. He's going to coach safeties as well as be the defensive coordinator, all right? But he's also a guy that kind of looks and talks like a defensive line coach. I think that's a passion of his, is disrupting folks up front. And so that's going to be a major part. Okay, and who do we have here? Is that William? William, who's come to us through our YouTube channel. To be honest, Mosley isn't saying Klanderman enough today.
Klanderman can, cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good. Makes the world taste good.
Thank you, Sammy Davis Jr. We miss you. We miss you, man. Loved your work. Part of the Rat Pack there with Dino and with Dean Martin, Frank, Joey. They had quite a group back there. And Sammy Davis Jr., man. So him singing Candyman does it for me. Baylor probably needs to tap into that. Will they reward me for coming up with all these marketing plans? Probably not. Although Doug McNamee and I are friends. But the Klanderman can. I feel like I already have seen, but have they done a tweet yet about that? and the way you spell it is Klandyman. And then you kind of do the Klanderman can, and then you put some music with it and things like that. Maybe even have Sammy Davis, maybe even bring back memories of the great Sammy Davis Jr. and put like a side by side. But there's the head of social media over there, the Hoffman. That's old Justin over there watches the show, and I like him. He's a good guy, so I might work with him on that. Probably do that for free. That's what I do. I just go around, trying to give back to my alma mater. Let's also hear the Klanderman talk about the recruiting aspect of this, recruiting to Waco as opposed to recruiting to Manhattan, Kansas.
That's where the game comes in. And I think that when you're at a place like Baylor, it's a lot more attractive than bringing a guy to Manhattan, Kansas, for a number of reasons. But that makes life a little bit easier. A lot of these kids that were great high school football players in Texas that may have gone out of state, or maybe some of them looking to get back to Texas. That makes life a little bit easier too. So, but I think to answer your original question on the D-line, I think, one of the things that we're looking for is length. And we're trying to get longer and bigger human beings in those spots.
Trying to get longer and bigger human beings in those spots. I like it. I mean, Baylor got left for dead at the D-line spot because they missed on a couple of portal guys. Jackie got hurt early in the season. Took him a little while to get back to full strength. Too much was on his plate. I mean, I think Jackie's someone you would like to keep. Sounds like Keaton is someone, obviously at linebacker that Coach Klanderman's going to meet with, and or he already has met with, is going to try to hold on to him. There are some key players that you would like to hold on to, and Keaton and Jackie are part of that. And then you got to fill in around it. And at one edge rusher from K-State just hit the portal. Long rangy cornerback just hit the portal, and Joe will be in the running for all of those guys. Now, Joe can't do that just based on, hey guys, the barbecue's good down here. I think you'll like the weather. The Brazos is nice, and you're close to Dallas and Austin. So y'all get on down here. Money talks. All right. But let's not act like these these kids that are up there in at K-State, they're not getting paid Kansas Jayhawk basketball money. They're getting paid Kansas State football money. And it's just, that's a different breed. And even at Kansas State, basketball money is a lot. Bill Self leads America in college basketball, probably with more money to spend than just about anybody this side of, I don't know, maybe UConn or Florida. But Kansas basketball can outspend just about anybody. I mean, they're right up there with Duke. And then Jerome Tang has a pretty good war chest. And then they go, well, what does K-State football have? Well, probably okay. Nothing that will blow you away. And I think Baylor will be pretty competitive if there's a K-State kid who wants to follow Joe Klanderman to Waco. So good stuff there. Reacting to our interview from yesterday and the good music that we had. I think that's the stuff. That's the good stuff right there on the Mosley Show. And thank you for, by the way, folks that you can comment on YouTube, and then Scotty will throw it right to the screen, man. That's what we do. We have a lot of fun right here on the Mosley Show. Thank you, Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James. We appreciate you so much. Ascension Providence, all that talented team of doctors over there at Ascension, and more folks trying to come over, be associated with the Mosley Show. We appreciate you. And of course, we appreciate CNB, Central National Bank, those great executives over there. They gather around each day. And as they close the lobby, sometimes the banks will close the lobby at about 2 or 3 o'clock. And then, of course, the drive-through continues. And one of the great things about CNB, the drive-through is open like way later than most banks, and the phones. There's somebody over there answering phones till like 9 or 10 at night. Okay. You don't even, sometimes people go, well, Mosley's up there in Dallas. What does he know about Central Texas? You don't get that in Dallas. I promise you that. There are people, they're not manning the phones and doing that. So we appreciate Central National Bank. I would encourage you to open up an account today. One of the great banks in all of Central Texas. They also have one in Austin, have one in Temple, and then the 2 locations there in Waco. And we appreciate the Nesbitt family. CNB, one of the great banks and one of the great partners of Baylor University and the Matt Mosley Show. I like how Grant Taff always said, Baylor University, Baylor University. There was just when he said it, it was like God saying it. It just was, and I mean, there's God, and we put him first in our lives, right? And then Grant's not far after that, man. The way Grant trained up a lot of us. All right, he was my Sunday school teacher at First Baptist Church in Waco, Texas, back in the day. I'm trying to think who was pastor back then. Scott, what was Scott's name? Scott was a good guy. I just can't think of his name. The guy over there now, Matt, good dude, came from Mississippi. I think the late, great Dr. John Anderson and others found a great pastor. Matt does a nice job over there. All right, it is the Mosley Show. We continue. We have more breaking portal news to react to in college football, and we start to get you ready. The college football playoff gets going on Friday, and we'll start preparing you for it here on the Mosley Show next.